So if Jennifer Walters makes her living by being an attorney, what does She-Hulk do for a living? She flips houses. Welcome back to Cover By. It's the sensational She-Hulk's turn in the spotlight as her brand new She-Hulk Attorney at Law TV show debuted yesterday on Disney+. Thanks for joining me. I have Comics for Thomas and Cookie from Just a Little Podcast standing by as we're going to decide which is better, the A or the B cover of the Sensational She-Hulk Omnibus by John Byrne. I wanted to do something a little bit different, a little bit old school, a little bit throwback for today's Cover By than some of the more recent She-Hulk series. And I thought, this is kind of fun because it's essentially John Byrne versus John Byrne. See, the original Savage She-Hulk and Sensational She-Hulk covers, they really didn't do variant covers back then. That really wasn't a thing for Marvel Comics in the days when those were new. But in the last few years when this omnibus was released, there was an A cover, and then there was an alternate exclusive LCS cover as well. So there is an A and a B cover to the Sensational She-Hulk. That's what we're going to feature today, plus a very fresh hot take on my viewing of the first episode of SheHulk Attorney at Law. That's all on the way on today's Cover By. If you haven't subscribed to Comics for Thomas or Cookie from Just a Little Podcast and their YouTube channels, there's links in the description for this video. Make sure to do so when this video wraps up so you don't miss out on the content that they're producing. We're ready for first thought comments, and Cookie from Just a Little Podcast has those for us now.
Sensational She-Hulk, done by John Byrne, written and also illustrated. This is the Omnibus one. We have cover A. Awesome cover A, because we have Sensational She-Hulk right dead smack in the middle. I love the fact that we're getting her very much working out, exercising. She's very much in like this feminine style, at the same time also very masculine with her muscles, and the fact that she's proud of who she is, and she's able to showcase and show off who she is, which I love. We have these characters behind her who are just like starstruck and in awe that we have She-Hulk listening to music, but not like the classical way with your iPod or your MP3 or your CD player or your cassette player. But no, she has the entire band just being held up, and she's plugged in her headphones, and she's just jamming out to her band above her, whatever the band is, just jamming out to them. I love this. Such a great cover. Detail and everything is super clean, super classy. John Byrne kills it every single time, and this is a great cover as well. On over to cover B. So cover B is a comic book that I've actually owned, and I've actually owned the comic book she's actually held. So both of which are great covers as well. I've always enjoyed this cover. That's why I picked it up. I love the detail on this. I think this is such a great cover. Just again, showcasing the muscle atrophy that she possesses, but at the same time in a very well sexy pose, sexy appeal type of thing going on, and holding up her own comic book, which I think is so cool. I love both these covers. I'm very much a simplistic type of guy. I've said it multiple times. I love the pink background. I've always loved pink backgrounds when it comes to comics, and this one is just really great. I love the detail that we're having, the logo behind her, everything about this, the detail in the comic book that she's holding. All this stuff is great work. So both these are really great covers.
Okie dokie, Cookie, thank you very much. Let's check in with Comics for Thomas and get his first thought comments on these two covers now.
Okay, we are looking at the A cover for Sensational She-Hulk by John Byrne, Omnibus. So, I like some stuff that's going on in this cover, and there's things that I don't like. The actual faces, I'm not a huge fan of. So basically, the actual people or the characters, I'm not huge on the art here, but I love this silhouette in the background of the skyline. Love the yellow and orange that's going back there. I like that she's lifting up the stage, and her headphones are jacked into. I like that a lot actually. That her headphones are jacked into the bottom of the stage while they're playing live music, and I love the little Fantastic Four wristband actually. Now that I've expanded the photo. And if you look at the guy in the background, in the kind of the orange tracksuit, I think I'm trying to see what it says. I think it says "work it off" on his sweater. So that's kind of it's neat, the tiny details, things that you can find once you start expanding the photo and taking a good look at it. So I don't know. I'm half and half on this one. So this is the B. How are we getting a B cover of an omnibus? I guess it would be like a second printing. That kind of confuses me. So we're looking at the B cover for this omnibus, which is obviously a Sensational She-Hulk cover. I don't know what number. I want to say number 1 maybe of that run. I recognize like the pink and her on it, but obviously this looks a little different. If you don't buy my book this time, I'm going to come to your house and rip up all your X-Men. So I assume that the wording that we're seeing on here is not what's on the original comic. I'm a Marvel fan, but I don't know a lot of the She-Hulk stuff. So I've always liked this cover, though. I do like the pink and the green, even though they don't really go together. Somehow it works on here. I think it's because the Sensational She-Hulk is also in that color, that yellowish green that's going on here. And yeah, her hair is just as terrible on this as it is on the comics. So
Thanks, Thomas. So this is a very fresh hot take because just before recording, I watched the first episode of SheHulk Attorney at Law on Disney+. Overall, I enjoyed it. Now, it wasn't as humorous as I thought or maybe was expecting, but then once again, humor is tough to do because what one person finds funny, another person might not at all. I really wish they would have stuck a little closer to the original source material in She-Hulk's origin. I think that what Stan Lee created and what was done in Savage She-Hulk issue number 1 was a much better and compelling story than what they provided for us. But I'm nitpicking here a little bit. Overall, I thought I haven't really dug a lot of stuff that Marvel has done in this 4th phase, but I liked this one better than the majority of the things that I've watched for Marvel's 4th phase. So I'm going to give it a recommendation for you to check out. And I do look forward to watching the rest of the series, and I can't say that's been the case with everything that I've watched in Marvel's 4th wave. But turning now to the omnibus, let's look at cover A. I actually remember this image. It might be kind of considered a hidden gem image, so to speak. This was a poster that John Byrne did back in the mid-1980s. As a matter of fact, I think I bought the poster, and I might still have it somewhere. I hope I still do because it's a fantastic image. I love the reactions of the other joggers and folks in Central Park in New York City to She-Hulk. You know, just kind of trotting along, exercising, working out, doing her thing. But the music she's listening to is by the band that she's lifting up on top of her. So it's creative. I like that. It's an image that I haven't really seen a whole lot since that original poster that I owned. Coloring is good on that too. Overall, I think it's just a fun image, and the Sensational She-Hulk run was a very fun run too. So I think that ties in nicely together. Let's take a look now at our B cover. So this is essentially the cover for Sensational She-Hulk Volume 1, Issue Number 1. And it's a very famous cover that's been homaged several times. As a matter of fact, the final issue of this series was an homage of the first cover. And they look so much alike, the first issue and the last issue. I, at least personally, sometimes have a hard time telling them apart. I was looking, because I had the first issue, but I was looking for the final issue once, and I was in a half-price books, and I was flipping through, and I saw it, and I just thought it was the first issue. And it wasn't until I went back flipping through again that I realized, oh no, that's the last issue that you're looking for. But, you know, it's her humor, it's her breaking the fourth wall, which she does on the Disney Plus TV show. You know, she's threatening to rip up your X-Men comic books, and X-Men comic books were certainly a commodity, and something you didn't want ripped up back at the time that these issues were released. So this cover is very much associated with She-Hulk and breaking the fourth wall and that John Byrne run, which is collected inside. So we have two really good and fun covers, I think, to choose from in today's cover buy. At least that's my opinion. But it's time to start making and picking some choices. So let's see what the panel thinks. We're going to go back to Cookie from Just a Little Podcast with his first pick of the show today.
All right, so surprisingly, I'm actually going to go and pick cover A. Even though I've owned cover B, cover A really does it for me. I really like that cover a lot, and I like the details of what's going on in here. Even though cover B is a lot more of a classical cover, a lot more sought after, I think cover A is a really cool cover. And if I had to choose, granted, without a monetary format attached to these comics, just looking at it based off of comic covers, cover A, if I saw it, I'd pick it up rather than cover B. So that's going to do it for me. Cover A, you win.
1 vote for cover A. Now with our second pick in today's show, it's Comics for Thomas.
So this is a tough one for me. Not in a positive way. Even though I don't mind that B cover when I see it as a comic, it's not something I'm really looking for. I don't own a copy of it, of that issue, and I just recognize it a lot. And like I said, the pink and the yellowish green do work for what they're doing. But it's not much better than the A cover on this one. I am going to go with B, only because even though I liked a lot of the tiny things that are going on in that A cover, I would never be interested in buying it at all. If I was going to pick between the two, I would pick B.
1 vote for A, 1 vote for B. That's going to make me the tiebreaker on today's cover buy. So I look at that A cover, brings back fond memories. I think it's a great image. I look at the B cover, that's fun as well, because it really establishes what you're getting in the book. She's breaking the fourth wall. It's a different type of She-Hulk than you saw from the Savage series. And remember, this run that it's collecting was only She-Hulk's second volume, and there were several years in between Savage She-Hulk and the beginning of Sensational She-Hulk. This B cover as well, when they did the trade paperback version, slimmed it down a little bit and did the trade for it, they recolored it, and it looked horrible. The recoloring on the trade version, John Byrne described as looking like moose piss. That's his words on it. And quite honestly, I kind of agreed with him. So at least we have the original coloring, the way the comic book was on the B cover. But with that having been said, as I said, there's things I like about both of them. In the end result, that nostalgia for that poster that I owned in the 1980s means that A is the winner today. Breaking the tie and going with A. Sorry, cover B. Bye. A is the winner today. Is it the one that you would have picked? I would love to know. I'd love to know your reviews of SheHulk Attorney at Law, so leave those in the comments section below, along with anything else that you'd like to share, as your comments are always welcomed, encouraged, and appreciated. I'd also like to take this moment to thank everyone for the wonderful comments and support and all the views I got on my video that I dropped earlier this week called Meanwhile, Volume 1. I kind of detailed how comic books have come full circle in my life and announced kind of what I'm doing with my life since I've moved. And I was so excited to finally get that out into the community and into the world. And your reaction to it was just amazing. And I just want to thank you for that and tell you how much I appreciate that. I'll be back with the regular comic book editions, regular video, another volume of that on Tuesday. Of course, we'll have a back issue of the week, YouTube short coming up on my channel on Monday. And in 2 weeks, it's DC Comics time once again with Cover By. See you then. Take care and have a fantastic weekend. Bye.